Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Alrighty then. Everything's set up here. Make sure my audio isn't being doubled here. Also make sure we silence my phone. Silence your cell phones. Let's see. Alright. Ready? Let's see. Move this over here. Put my notes up. A quick check. Everything is broken in the last little bit since I finished up the notes. Let's see. It's in my football. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's get the box office report. No, that's not what I want to see. MDB. Box office. This won't be spoiling it because I don't go that far down. The top 21. Jungle Cruise is still in there. Interesting enough, the Eyes of Tammy Faye are still in the top 20 here. It's only showing in 25 theaters. There are some surprising ones in here. Like the number 9 film is The French Dispatch from Searchlight Pictures, which is only showing in 52 theaters but made $1.3 million in its opening weekend. That's kind of interesting. It shows you how far the pandemic has knocked things back. The top movie in 2019 was, of course, Avengers Endgame, which made $11 million US, $11.3 million US. The top movie for 2020 was Bad Boys for Life, which made $2.1 million. The top movie so far for 2021 is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which has made just under $3 million. That's how far we've pushed towards, back towards normalcy, I guess. But yeah, it's still down. Funny as hell, as you scroll down, you get the first $1 million movie, $1 million yearly movie of Superman in 1979, and every year it goes up, goes up, goes up, it goes up. We reached $10 million in 2009. Reached $11 million in 2015, and then drops off in 2020 back down to $2 million. Which would be the box office for around 1983. Yeah, the world's changing. I started watching, I'll probably talk about this at the beginning of the movie, because beginning of the show, which we should get to. Let's get to the show. Let's see here. Turn off the bug. Gotta get. Get to. Alright, show notes are up. Check one thing real quick here. Real quick. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're alright, make sure. Last week I had a problem with a little doubling effect. That was because I had the same source in there twice. I didn't see it. So if you do that, it layers one source on top of the other, because it acts like they're two different microphones, even though it's coming out the same one. So for the beginning of the last show, both episodes I had layered in the first part of the show. So yeah, that was a problem. But anyway, let's get on with the show. After these messages, we right back. Scoot my background a little bit. There's not that edge. All right. A 1, a 2. Oh, no, I need to close the door. Sorry about that, but the mailman came with a Amazon package for today. And of course it sets the dog off. So I've closed the front door so the dog will hopefully not go off during the show. Alright. Where were we? 1, 2, this is how we do. Yes. Alright. And tonight, Shatner survives space, Kumail Nanjiani talks to Obi-Wan, and remembering bosom buddy Peter Scalari. All that and more on the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight! Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 147 of Multiverse Tonight, the sci-fi edition. I'm, of course, your host, Thomas Townley. And start off, not much to begin the show with today. I know I say that a lot, but, you know, really when every 2 weeks is just you going to work and coming home, there's really not a lot to say. I would like to say that I did start watching Dune this past week. I watched like the first 20 minutes or so of it. That was kind of interesting. I still miss the I like the opening narration of the original Dune movie. The year is this, and mankind has done this, and this is all thanks to the spice, and the opening narration, I think, of the original Dune sets the story nicely. So a movie like Dune, high concept sci-fi like Dune, I think requires that you have some sort of narration going into it. That's why Star Wars, not to call Star Wars high concept sci-fi, Star Wars has the opening crawl, of course, to tell you exactly what the story is up to this point. Of course, that comes out of old time serials, but still would have been nice at the beginning of this movie to have like an opening crawl or like a narration or something to say, hey, this is what you're going to see, and this is why things are why they are, instead of just being, bam, you're there, accept it. So I think that kind of shows it. By the way, of course, this is the first part of a two-part movie, which did very well at the box office, and we'll cover that a little bit more in the show note in the show later. So let's go on, shall we, to the Star Trek news. We start Star Trek news today with, William Shatner who successfully went to the limit of space and back again. The 90-year-old became the oldest man ever in space. Now, he was joined on Bezos' New Shepard NS-18 by Audrey Powers, who is Blue Origin's Vice President of Mission and Flight Operations, Chris Boshin, and Glenn DeVries. Back on Earth, he called it, quote, "That was unlike anything they described," and told Bezos on the ground, "What you have given me is the most profound experience. I am so filled with emotion, just extraordinary. I hope I never recover from this. I hope that I can maintain what I feel now," unquote. Blue Origin, of course, is not without controversy, as a group of 21 current and former employees have called the company a dehumanizing workplace that's rife with sexism, and they also said that they wouldn't be willing to fly on a Blue Origin vehicle, implying that it was not safe. So it sounds like Bill should thank his lucky stars that he wasn't one of the first to be killed. Star Trek Strange New Worlds has wrapped up on Season 1, and Anson Mount posted a message for Star Trek fans on Twitter saying, quote, "It's been such a journey. It has been an honor to work with this cast and with this crew, and I just want to remind you that this is happening because of you, the fans. You made this happen, and we are so grateful for your support, for your continued support, for all your well wishes. So all of our footage now gets to go over to our incredible post-production team to begin the process, and hopefully we'll be getting something on to you sometime next year." Now, no release date has been given, but if it comes out after Picard Season 2, then it would land sometime in April. Speaking of Picard, we've been wondering what role Brent Spiner would have in the second season of the show. We now know for one thing, Brent, in an interview with Inverse, said, quote, "I can tell you I'm not Data. I know they haven't revealed much about me being in the show. I can tell you that I'm a member of the Soong family, and that I'm not playing a character I've ever played before." So that means he won't be Brother Soong, Daddy Soong, Great-Grandfather Soong. Could he be Grandfather Soong? Great-Great-Great-Grandfather Soong? How weird is it that all the Soongs are all men that look the same? Wouldn't it be fun if he played his great-great-great-grandmother? That would be comedy. Now, that's all for the Star Trek news. Let's go on to the Star Wars news.
Roger, roger.
Now, we begin Star Wars news with Hayden Christensen, who will be back as Darth Vader in Star Wars Ahsoka, according to The Hollywood Reporter. Now, the series will see Rosario Dawson return as the surviving Jedi Ahsoka Tano. Now, no exact word on the plot to the show, but Dave Filoni is writing the series with Jon Favreau executive producing, and production is slated for early next year. Kumail Nanjiani's work on Eternals wasn't on the last project of his for the mouse. He will now also be appearing in the recently wrapped Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and he will be heavily featured. Speaking with Rolling Stone, the actor said, quote, "I heard Ewan McGregor was super nice, and then we got to know each other a little bit, just hanging out and talking. Then there was this weird moment where I'm talking to Ewan, and they yell, 'Action!' and he'd start talking to me, and I was like, oh, I'm talking to Obi-Wan right now. This is not Ewan McGregor. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi that I'm talking to. My character is supposed to be a little bit intimidated by him, and I was a little bit intimidated. You know, it's bleep, Obi-Wan. What are you going to do?" Unquote. He also spoke about the digital environment that the show was shot in, saying, quote, "You really feel like you're there. The first scene we shot, it was Star Wars outside the windows with aliens walking around and ships flying by and all this stuff, but the rest of it just looked like a warehouse. So I did a couple of takes, and then Ewan was like, you know, none of this is real. I knew the windows weren't real, but the walls weren't either. I looked and I was like, wow, the walls are projected. The only thing that was real in the whole room was the desk I was sitting at. It was wild. It was really, really exciting. I love shooting that because you don't have to pretend you're on a spaceship flying through space. It really feels like you're in a spaceship flying through space. And it's amazing to be inside the world of Star Wars, the world that I've been watching since I was born. I've been a fan as long as I can remember. In fact, I just went to Disneyland. I went to the Star Wars world, and I was like, oh, this kind of feels like being at work, unquote. Now, we still have no release date for the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, but I think we're all waiting for that one with bated breath. Sasha Banks has confirmed that she will not be back for the third season of The Mandalorian. Talking to Bleacher Report, the Bleacher Report's Graham Matthews, she told the guy, quote, "First of all, thanks for trying to get that out, but I'm not on the next season. But it was incredible being on The Mandalorian on Star Wars. To be on a franchise that is so huge and so loved, just look at the reception from fans outside of the WWE universe. It was the best feeling of all time. The projection of that show was overwhelming. I legit felt like I was in a galaxy so far, far away. I felt like I was on a different planet. It was something I always take with me. I will always take with me, and I took so much of what I learned from acting with them and being with so many great stars to WWE. It really helped my confidence as well when I came back from doing The Mandalorian 2 years ago. It was such a learning curve and something I wasn't expecting. But now I'm in this whole new Hollywood world, and it's it's going amazingly. I'm so excited for the fans, and I can't wait for my fans to see what's next," unquote. Now, her schedule is pretty much dictated by her wrestling schedule, so maybe season 4? Alan Horn, Disney Studios' chief creative officer, has announced his retirement. The 78-year-old has a 50-year career in Hollywood, with the last 9 being at Disney. Horn's retirement has been expected by many, with Alan Bergman being named Disney Studios' content chairman back in December of last year. Now, Horn led perhaps the most pivotal season of growth for Disney Studios over the last 9 years, integrating Marvel Studios and overseeing the expansion of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, acquiring Lucasfilm, and seeing the reboot of the entire Star Wars franchise, all while furthering the individual Disney and Pixar brands. He also worked on the transition of the recently acquired 20th Century Studios over the last couple of years. Now, Horn won't be replaced by Bergman. Bergman will continue to serve as content chairman, with the heads of Marvel, Lucasfilm, Pixar, and Disney Animation reporting directly to him. The PlayStation 4 will be getting some classic Star Wars games. Now, first off is Star Wars Jedi Knight Collection, which includes both Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy and Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. Also coming is Star Wars Jedi Knight Collection and Star Wars Racer and Commando Combo, courtesy of THQ Nordic and Aspire Media. Each collection of classic games will cost $30 when they release. The 2 collections are also coming to the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch Lite, and Nintendo Switch OLED, but these versions won't arrive until November 16th. Now, there's been no word on Xbox, if Xbox will be getting any of these games or not. Now, let's go on to the Geek News. Geek News starts with Kathleen Robertson, who has joined the 6th and last season of Amazon's The Expanse. Now, Robertson will be playing Rosenfeld Guliang, a cynic and fierce believer in Belter independence, who is a key member of insurgent leader Marco Inaro's inner circle. The season premiere is set for December 10th. Well, the sequel to Dune is apparently in the bag, according to an interview with Warner Media Studios and Network's chair and CEO Ann Sarnoff. In an interview with Deadline, when asked about the movie, she said, quote, Will we have a sequel to Dune? If you watch, you see how it ends. I think you pretty much know the answer to that," unquote. Now, the sequel will focus more on Zendaya's Chani as opposed to Timothée Chalamet's Paul Atreides, who was the focus of Part 1. Also discussed was Matrix 4 and if this was the last film in that series or just the start of a new trilogy, with Sarnoff replying, "Anytime Lana Wachowski wants to make a movie, we're all in," unquote. I wonder if she'll say that if the film tanks. The CBS series based on the BBC series Ghosts has been given a full season order. Now, the show, starring Rose McIver and Utkarish Ambudkar, is about a couple who moves into a house full of ghosts after an accident in the house, Rose McIver's character can now suddenly see and communicate with the ghosts. The show is CBS's new top comedy, and it's very good, folks. I highly recommend going on to Paramount Plus and watching the past, I think it's 6 episodes. They're all, it's a very funny show. And we close out with a little sad news. Actor Pierre Scalari has passed away. The actor has had plenty of roles in his career, including TV shows like Bosom Buddies, where he starred opposite Tom Hanks, Good Time Girls, Newhart, which won him a Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy, Dweebs, Girls, Gotham, and most recently Evil, and a ton of guest star roles in TV movies and such. Now, he's also had roles in actual movies and Broadway. Peter was married 4 times, had 2 children, and struggled with substance abuse and bipolar depression. Peter Scalari passed away from leukemia on October 22nd in New York City. He was 66 years old. And that brings us to the end of the sci-fi news. Now, be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute financially to the show, thank you. Be sure to head on over to sci-fi4me.com to check out the show notes. Visit the TeePublic store, go through the episode notes, and much more. And if you're a subscriber, thank you. Thank you very much. Be sure to share us with friends and family. And if you're brand new to the show, please be sure to subscribe. Leave us with some feedback and let us know how we're doing. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in 2 days with a brand new comic book edition and 2 weeks with a new sci-fi edition. Now please exit the universe in orderly fashion. Good night. Sci-Fi for Me is a production. Oh, excuse me. Let's try one again. Wow, I had Sci-Fi for Me in my head. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half Baked Genre Productions. Copyright 2021. All rights reserved. The bug. Get a little bit more pop. After these messages, we'll be right back. Alright. Let's wet my whistle here. it. That's probably how do I fix this? Anyway. And let's get my bug off. Tonight, Adam Warlock is found, DC fandom news, and Margot Robbie finds her Ken. All that and more on the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello and welcome to episode 148 of Multiverse Tonight, the comic book edition. I'm, of course, your host, Thomas Townley. And we're just a couple episodes away from 150. Yeah, that's a big milestone. Of course, I still haven't decided whether to shorten the show to just a couple of one mega show or what. But in other news, as you listen to this, I'll be getting my third dose, my booster dose of the COVID vaccine. So, again, I implore you to go out and get your vaccination. Make a party of it. Go get your COVID vaccination. Go get your flu vaccination. Go out and get hammered. Make something of it. Anyway, there's not much to do. Again, all I do is go to work and come home. That's pretty much my life at the moment. We're dressing up the dog for Halloween. Dog's going to be Super Dog. My wife and I are going to be are putting on our Superman finery as well. So we're looking forward to Halloween night. But let's go on to the Marvel news. Now, Marvel news begins with a happy birthday to actor Ryan Reynolds. Ryan turned 45 this past Saturday. Which of us has aged better? I think I have. Just kidding. We have some news from Sony. Now, Sony has added 2 new dates for its Marvelverse movies. According to The Hollywood Reporter's Aaron Crouch, quote, Sony has added 2 untitled Marvel movies to its calendar, June 23rd, 2023, and October 6th, 2023. Now, already had Kraven the Hunter on the calendar for January of 2023. So, as to what those 2 movie dates are for is anyone's guess. Now, in other MCU news, Guardians of the Galaxy has found its Adam Warlock, as the James Gunn movie has picked Will Poulter to get painted gold. Now, if you remember, the post-credits scene from Guardians 2 teased the character that was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby way back in 1967's Fantastic Four, numbers 66 and 67. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, is due in theaters in May of 2023. We're going to have a busy 2023, aren't we? It's a little sad news. Dorothy Siddle, who played a tribal elder in Black Panther, has passed away. Now, Dorothy only began acting at the age of 88. Her brief career included credits in movies like Jumanji: The Next Level and shows like The Oval. She will be appearing in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever next year. She was 95 years old. Oscar Isaac discussed working on Moon Knight with Variety's Awards Circuit podcast. Now, Isaac spoke about the workload and how much he has loved it, saying, quote, speaking with Kevin Feige, I told him, I'm going to come in with these big ideas, and if you don't like them, that's fair. And immediately, we saw it all. I found so much room to do things I've never done before and had been curious about and wanting to do. I could not wait to get to set. It was the biggest workload I've ever had in my career and most challenging. By the sheer amount of stuff we had to do in 8 months, and even yet, I couldn't wait to get to the set and work, unquote. Now, Moon Knight filmed in Budapest, Hungary this year, and it's due on Disney Plus sometime in 2022. Dune did very well at the box office, opening with a strong $40.1 million. The movie is also available on HBO Max. And let's do a quick look at this weekend's past box office. And I know it's kind of weird in the middle of Marvel news to talk about stuff like that, but it is fairly related. Now, this past weekend saw Dune taking the top spot, followed by Halloween Kills, which was number 1 the previous week, No Time to Die, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, there's your Marvel news, folks, dropped from 3 to 4. Now, the interesting thing is that Dune made $40 million, $40.1 million, even though it is streaming both in both locations, in digital and yeah, I think I'll just cut this story out. What do you say to that? Hold on. Actress Tawny Kitane's cause of death has been announced. The actress passed away on... Now, how would that get in my... Sorry, folks. Sometimes when I write these, they don't get into the right place. It happens. Let's go on to the DC news. In Batman the Night, a new 10-issue limited series starring this January 2022, we will see Chip Zdarsky and Carmine Di Domenico explore the early days of Bruce Wayne's time as Batman. Now, according to the official description, quote, the origin of Batman and his never-ending fight against crime in Gotham City is modern mythology. But what about the story in between? How did an angry, damaged young man grow into the most accomplished detective and crime fighter the world has ever known? How did the Dark Knight begin? Chip Zdarsky, who's done Daredevil, and Carmine Di Giandomenico, who's done The Flash, explore Bruce Wayne's journey to become Batman in this definitive new series, Batman the Night #1. Now, there's variant covers by Greg Capullo and Jonathan Glapion, and a 1 in 25 variant cover by Gerald Perrell, and a 150 foil cover by Greg and Jonathan. The first issue will be 40 pages, will run for $4.99, and will be on sale on January 18th, 2022. John Cena's Peacemaker is getting a big push. Now, we were introduced to him in the Suicide Squad. He has an upcoming series on HBO Max, and now there will be a new comic book. Peacemaker, Disturbing the Peace, is a one-shot from Garth Ennis and artist Gary Brown, and according to the press release, quote, long before joining Task Force X, Christopher Smith, codenamed Peacemaker, meets with a psychiatrist, a woman dangerously obsessed with his bizarre and violent past. From his tragic childhood to his military service overseas to his multiple missions with special forces, Smith has more than his share of skeletons in the closet. But who's actually analyzing whom? And will this trip down memory lane result in yet more fatalities? Now, the comic comes out on January 25th. At DC's Fandome, it was announced that Wonder Woman will be the star of a new crossover event in 2022. Trial of the Amazons, according to the official description, will, quote, 2022 will see a massive crossover event that will affect the future of the Amazons. Trial of the Amazons. Diana is fighting for justice on a cosmic scale, leaving Queen Hippolyta to depart for Man's World and Nubia to lead Themyscira as new tribes of Amazons appear. Yara Flor, introduced in Future State and the pages of Wonder Girl, and Nubia find themselves in the heart of a power struggle that will redefine the future of DC's Amazons. Unquote. Now, the opening salvo was this past week's Nubia and the Amazons. And in our comic news, the Monkey Prince will be getting his own 12-issue miniseries starting in February. The Monkey Prince was inspired by the 16th century Chinese novel Journey to the West and will be written by Jean Luen Yang and drawn by Bernard Chang and Billy Tan, who will handle the flashback sequences. Sebastian Chang is handling coloring duties, while lettering will be done by Janice Chang. Jessica Chen is the book's editor. The Monkey Prince hits store shelves on February 1st, which is the Lunar New Year. Pennyworth has been renewed for a third season, but not with epics. The series, which follows the adventures of Alfred Pennyworth's life in 1960s London, will be moving to HBO Max. Season 3 begins after a 5-year time jump. The Civil War is over, and a cultural revolution has changed the world for better or worse, ushering in a new age of superheroes and supervillains. It will join existing DC Max originals Doom Patrol Titans, which was just renewed for a 4th season, Harley Quinn and Young Justice. A Peacemaker series is also headed to the platform in early 2022, and television shows tied to Green Lantern, Justice League Dark, and 2 spin-offs of The Batman are also in the works. Now, also announced at DC's Fandome 2022 slate of animated movies, we will have Catwoman Hunted, which would be the center of this animated slate for the next year. The rest of the DC universe will not be far behind. However, Green Lantern Beware My Power was just announced alongside Battle of the Super Sons. Younger fans are being left out in the fun with Teen Titans Go and DC Superhero Girls Mayhem in the Multiverse. DC Showcase Constantine House of Mystery will play host to a bunch of animated shorts centered around the titular Hellblazer. And if that wasn't enough, DC is also rolling out a 4K Ultra HD release of Batman The Long Halloween Deluxe Edition. That version of the animated movie will kick the action up to an R rating, which also while also connecting the two halves of that film for an easier viewing. Warner Brothers' new DC Spotify series has been announced. Batman Unburied will have Gina Rodriguez playing Barbara Gordon, joined by Sam Witwer from The Mist and Supergirl as the cannibalistic serial killer called The Harvester. Emmy Raver Lampman has Kel, a medical student helping Bruce Wayne. Jessica Marie Garcia from Diary of a Future President as Barbara Gordon's partner Renee Montoya. Jim Peary from Penguins of Madagascar as Arnold Floss, a corrupt cop using his badge for personal gain. And Winston Duke from Black Panther, who will lead the Batman Unburied's cast as Bruce Wayne. The rest of the ensemble includes Hassan Minhaj as the Riddler, Lance Riddick as Thomas Wayne, Tux Olendoya as Martha Wayne, Jason Isaacs from Harry Potter as Alfred, and John Rhys Davies from The Lord of the Rings as Dr. Hunter, and Ashley Birch as Vicky Vale. The story is by David S. Goyer. DC has given Superman an updated mission statement, which is causing some people to lose their ding-dong minds. His motto of truth, justice, and the American way, which came out of the 1940 Superman radio serials, has been changed to the more inclusive truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. Which, if you think about it, makes a lot more sense because Superman is a worldwide hero, not just an American one. Plus, the American way is kind of questionable. What is the American way anyway? It changes. So, a better tomorrow is something we can all work towards. Also released at Fandom were trailers and first looks for The Batman, The Flash, the next Aquaman movie, Blue Beetle, Peacemaker, Batgirl, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and Black Adam. And all those trailers, of course, available over on YouTube. Not surprisingly, at Fandom, it was also announced that there will be a third Wonder Woman movie from Patty Jenkins. Jenkins told the crowd, quote, "We're super excited about Wonder Woman 3. Gal Gadot, who is so bummed about not being here, who's the busiest person in the world with now 3 little kids and shooting. We all three very excited about some things coming up with Wonder Woman 3, unquote. Now, Wonder Woman 1984 was a bit of a bomb. It fizzled out in theaters with just $45.5 million domestic and $166.5 million worldwide. Frankly, folks, I watched it, and it's sucked on toast. I can't recommend anyone watching it. The story makes zero sense. It feels slapped together. I mean, yeah. So, maybe they're hoping for a better third movie, kind of sandwich, of course. Let's go on to the geek news. Margot Robbie's Barbie has found its ken. Ryan Gosling has been picked and is in final negotiations for the live-action movie. No plot details yet, and if Ryan Gosling's underwear will be molded onto his body. Want to get paid to watch The Simpsons? A British online casino site is looking for a Simpsons series analyst to get paid to watch every Simpsons ever to help predict the future. You will be tasked to watch all 33 seasons of the show, plus the movie. Persons interested must commit to 8 weeks with a minimum of 35.5 hours per week watching the show, plus the Simpsons movie. Now, Platinum Casino in the listing said, quote, "It's a well-known phenomenon that The Simpsons has predicted major life events, and in our industry, we too look to predict what the future has in store for us. The Simpsons series analyst will get paid to note down standout events from the show to help us predict the probability of each one happening." Unquote. Now, if hired, the first official Simpsons analyst will receive a pay of about 5,000 British pounds, or the equivalent in your chosen currency, which is roughly $6,859 US dollar, as well as an additional 75 British pounds, or 102 domestically, to cover expenses for the Disney Plus subscription, Wi-Fi expenditures for the employment period. Benefits include flexible working hours, remote working, and a weekly box of Homer Simpson's favorite snack, Lard Lad donuts. Applicants from all countries are welcome, but need to be over 18, fluent English, and have strong writing skills, and a TV or computer. Now, if you hear that noise in the background, that's my dog squeaking on a dog toy. Actress Tawny Katane's cause of death has been announced. The actress passed away on May 7th from dilated cardiomyopathy, according to the Orange County Sheriff's Department. The spokesperson said other significant conditions with Katane include mild coronary atherosclerosis, Mirtazapine metabolite, alzapram, acetaminophen, pregabalin, and hydrocodone. Director Michael Matthews will direct Disney's Merlin, an adaptation of T.A. Barron's novel series. Originally, Ridley Scott had been tapped to direct but had to bow out due to other commitments. The book series followed the origin story of a young Merlin who would go on to become the mentor of the classic literary character King Arthur. Now, several films have focused on the King Arthur legend. The only high-profile story to focus specifically on the story of Merlin was the NBC miniseries Merlin, which starred Sam Neill. Actress Katie Sagal is recovering after being hit by a car in Los Angeles. On Friday, the 15th of October, Katie was crossing the street in the crosswalk when she was struck by a car making a left turn. The driver immediately stopped and helped her, even calling an ambulance. She was taken to the hospital for life-threatening injuries, and her representatives say she will be okay. The Hocus Pocus sequel has cast Sam Richardson in an unknown role. The sequel, which is currently in production, will see 3 young women accidentally bring the Sanderson sisters back to modern-day Salem. The sequel will arrive in May of next year. Composer Ralph Carmichael has passed away. Mr. Carmichael was a prolific composer and arranger with credits ranging from I Love Lucy, Bonanza, My Mother the Car, the sci-fi classic The Blob, and Christmas music like Nat King Cole's version of the Christmas song. Ralph Carmichael is survived by his wife, Marvella, children Andrea, Greg, and Aaron, as well as his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, nieces, and nephews. His daughter, Carol Carmichael Parks, preceded him. He was 94 years old. Also passed away was songwriter Lily Bercuse, whose extensive roster of hits include The Candyman from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Talk to the Animals from Dr. Dolittle, and What Kind of Fool Am I from Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Known for his collaborations with New Lee, Sammy Davis Jr., John Barry, and Henry Mancini, Bercuse wrote or co-wrote such now classic film or stage songs as Goldfinger, which was a hit for Shirley Bassey in 1964, and 2 hits sung by Davis, including The Candyman from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and What Kind of Fool Am I from Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. Bercuse won his first Oscar for 1967's Talk to the Animals from Dr. Dolittle, and his second for co-writing with Mancini the score for 1982's Victor Victoria, including the musical's most popular song, Le Jazz Hot. A partial list of films with songs written or co-written by Bercuse include Goodbye Mr. Chips, Scrooge from 1970, Beyond the Rainbow, and Hook. Broadway credits include Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, Pickwick, The Roar of the Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd, Jekyll and Hyde, and the stage adaptations of Victor Victoria and Willy Wonka, retitled Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Bercuse co-wrote 2 songs for the James Bond franchise that became hits, Goldfinger, and the title song for You Only Live Twice, which was recorded by Nancy Sinatra. 2 songs from Goodbye Mr. Chips became hits for Petula Clark, Fill the World with Love, and You and I, and other memorable film songs include Thank You Very Much from Scrooge, and with Mancini, 2 for the Road from the 1967 movie of the same name. In another fruitful collaboration with John Williams, Bercuse wrote Can You Read My Mind from Superman 1978, Somewhere in My Memory from Home Alone in 1990, When You're Alone from Hook, and Christmas at Hogwarts from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Leslie Bercuse is survived by his wife and his son. He was 90 years old. Joanna Cameron, star of the CBS series The Secrets of Isis, has passed away. Cameron got her start in Norman Panama's How to Commit Marriage in 1969, and starred in a handful of projects before landing what would end up being her most notable role. At the same time, Linda Carter was starring in her Wonder Woman series. CBS was also developing The Secrets of Isis, another series featuring characters from the DC Comics stable. Cameron played the show's lead character, Isis/Andrea Thomas, who often appeared beside Shazam, who went by the name of Captain Marvel in the show. The Secrets of Isis ended up running for 22 episodes between two seasons from 1975 to 1976. After Cameron wrapped her role on Isis, she only appeared in 5 other projects, including 2 episodes of Nicholas Hammond's The Amazing Spider-Man series, before retiring in 1980. Her final Hollywood credit came as the director and producer of Blue Angels in Razor Sharp, a documentary about the United States Navy's Blue Angels flight team. According to her Isis co-star, Joanna Pang Atkins, Joanna suffered a stroke last week and passed away. She was 70 years old. And finally tonight, David J. Negron Sr. has passed away. The man was a conceptual painter, illustrator, and storybook artist, working on such movies as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Jurassic Park, Blade Runner, David Zucker's Ghost, Amblin's Gremlins, Star Trek the Motion Picture, Midnight Run, The Jewel of the Nile, Back to the Future Part 3, Ace Ventura, Last Action Hero, Out of Time, Hello Dolly, and When Nature Calls. He is survived by his daughters Cynthia and Laura, his sons David Jr., Joel, and Lawrence, and 18 grandchildren and 21 great-grandchildren. David J. Negron Sr. passed away peacefully in his sleep. He was 85 years old. And that brings us to the end of the comic book news. Now be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute financially to the show, check out the show notes, visit our TeePublic store, and so much more. Be sure to head on over to multiversetonight.com. And if you're a subscriber, thank you. Be sure to share us with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, please be sure to subscribe and leave us some feedback and let us know how we're doing. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a brand new sci-fi and comic book edition. Now please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half-Baked Genre Productions. Copyright 2021. All rights reserved. All right, folks. Well, I gotta get to editing the show.